Yo, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Steph from the Hot Book Podcast. And yesterday I did a video just talking about the whole Garrett being banned situation and, touched up on his tweet that he had, about Doug Polk. And pretty much, saying a fire's been lit and he wants to, come back and play poker back on the live streams, right? And, I just kind of got fed up with just kind of Garrett's stance of just the arrogance, the amount of control it seemed like he felt he had on the poker space. If and when I decide to come back type of talk, and still proclaiming that he was done wrong in the Jack forehand that took place with Robbie Lou. And it's fine if he still thinks that, right? But to still proclaim cheating took place without any proof, and just his absence for the past, 6 months now. I don't know, man. Garrett used to be one of my favorite players on Hustler Casino. He is a good player. But I just finished watching an interview with Doug Polk that Doug Polk did with Nik Airball. And, we know Nik Airball, he's definitely a personality on Hustler Casino. I've joked about him in the past and whatnot, but, after seeing this interview, we got to see a real side of, see a more authentic side of Nik. And, I think, it was a good interview because, he brought up a lot of things that just the average viewer isn't privy to, right? And, I knew Hustler Casino promoted the hell out of Garrett, right? Garrett is their star boy, their show boy, show pony, whatever, right? So I get it, you want to take advantage and market one of your premier players, right? But after you did this interview, you see that that Garrett had a lot of control on the show. He had a lot to say. This is coming from Nik, right? At this point, I don't see why Nik would need to lie. He's still allowed to play on the show. He's still there. If there's anything wrong with Nik or any validity to, claims of Nik somehow being involved in cheating or something like that, I'm sure, he wouldn't be there either, right? But he's been on there and he's been on other streams as well, playing poker. So, but, he talks about just how much control Garrett has had about picking the lineup. And when he's playing, some of the recreational players are just very uncomfortable with the type of action that Garrett really wants to push when it comes to the straddling. A lot of these rec players are coming into these big high stake games, and playing against Garrett is very intimidating. And you come to the table and there's already boundaries that he's establishing and he's setting, right? And it just kind of makes it uncomfortable, And Nik also brought up the fact that Garrett's he may not be banned per se, but he kept mentioning that the games that Garrett would like to play, the players don't want to play with, and the games that Garrett can play, those players don't want to play with Garrett, right? So Garrett essentially banned himself, right? And it goes to this other point is going forward, is Garrett going to be good for poker streams, right? Like, is he going to be good for online poker stream business? When Garrett comes back, when he does decide to play on a live stream, I'm sure that's going to be crazy viewership and stuff like that. Awesome, right? But does these stream platforms want to be careful on bringing him back and, get enamored with these eye-popping numbers? But then what comes with it is that, it's going to feed Garrett's ego. He's going to want to start asserting some control, some dominance. And then you're just going to have the same similar thing happen at Hustler Casino. I'm not saying the whole cheating thing, but players aren't going to want to play with him, right? And considering what's happened at Hustler Casino, and Nik is way more vocal now about all the things that was going on behind the scenes. Is that a risk on asset as a Garrett you want to bring? It's almost kind of like a potential liability for your own business. It's just something for these streams to think about. I used to be a big fan of Garrett, and you know what? After just kind of how he's handled himself with the Jack 4 post, we still no official evidence, and he's making it seem like everything around him was other people's fault, and he doesn't want to take accountability. The only type of accountability he's taken was that he may have been overly dramatic with the Jaguars. But that's not enough. You know what I'm saying? So a caution to these poker streams, man. I mean, there's a few I like out there and that are on the come up. You know, be careful if you're gonna bring in Garrett, man. You know, is it really gonna be good for your business after you get through the eye-popping numbers, right? And if so, if you do bring on Garrett, are you gonna be able to have frame within your platform to make sure that players like a Garrett doesn't take control? You know, at the end of the day, you're the streaming house. Don't allow a player like Garrett or a Garrett type to be making all kinds of production decisions and picking the lineup and, you know, making players that are regulars, recreational players that aren't super pros or super grinders very uncomfortable and just don't want to play anymore. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there was a guy that was also known, and this brings up another thing, my last point. Real quick. You know, I know Garrett, this kind of makes a lot of sense now. But there was a guy that played on Hustler Casino, and he was called the villain, right? His name is Dylan. And when you watch it, you can see like, okay, yeah, Dylan's a villain. You know what I'm saying? He's a little rude, disrespectful. You know, had a few jokes here and there. But then it makes me think, man, like, you know, I wonder how all the conversations were pre-production and stuff like that with Garrett, you know, and Dylan was just kind of acting out on it because it was always drama when Dylan was playing with Garrett. And I wonder, a lot of things that are coming out now, Dylan really didn't speak on it, but he was just really annoyed, and he kind of took it out on him during the live streams. You know what I'm saying? It makes me think about that too. Was Dylan really the villain, considering we know some more insight, you know, as well, because based on the interview that Nik Airball did with Doug Polk. So I don't know, just something to think about, man, and something for these poker streaming houses to think about as well too. So I'm just a dusty YouTuber, you know. I'm a casual poker player on the side for leisure, small cash games out here in Arizona. But, you know, just my little 2 cents of pain on this. If you are watching, thank you. Do me a huge favor and sub. If not, I still love you anyway. Thank you. Peace. I'm out.